I we did I need a country. We did I need a country. Mami oh mama, I type levan from the kana. Mami oh mama, levan sa pinera ilwanja. I type levan. I like it and fight it. All I'm vegan pesto. I telling you that the way to at the win with him. Clever that will love your body. Strictly organic, so it helps me.
Join us on 101.3 and 106.3 Vibes FM and on all social media platforms every Sunday at 7 p.m. for 1 hour of exciting information, providing valuable legal information to the public. Join us on Legalize, a legal education program hosted by Joseph Newark Lane, the holder of 3 law degrees, including 2 Masters of Law degrees, and the legal education certificate from Hugh Wooding Law School. Legalize will open your eyes to the rights and duties, do's and don'ts, and some of the intricacies of law as Lane engages attorneys from Grenada and across the Caribbean to discuss and drill down on current legal issues, including cases decided by the court. Come, join the vibes. Legalize 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. this and every Sunday. Don't miss it. Will open your eyes to the rights and duties, do's and don'ts, and some of the intricacies of law as Lane engages attorneys from Grenada and across the Caribbean to discuss and drill down on current legal issues, including cases decided by the court. Come, join the vibes. Legalize 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. this and every Sunday. Don't miss it. Will open your eyes to the rights and duties, do's and don'ts, and some of the intricacies of law as Lane engages attorneys from Grenada and across the Caribbean to discuss and drill down on current legal issues, including cases decided by the court. Come, join the vibes. Legalize 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. this and every Sunday. Don't miss it.
There's a calm surrender to the rush of day, when the heat of a rolling wave can't be turned away. An enchanted moment, and it sees me through. It's enough for this for you, just to be with you. Can you feel the love tonight? It is when we are. It's enough for this one up on the road. Then we got this far. And you feel the love tonight. It lets you in. It's enough to make it and vagabonds believe everything. It's a time for everyone if they only learn that the twisting kaleidoscope moves us on time. There's a rhyme and reason to the wild outdoors. When the heart and a star-crossed Voyager beats in time with yours. No, but there's one. It's in It's enough to make kings and vagabonds believe. I've been walking hard. I've made a mess of me. The person that I've been lately ain't who I wanna be. But you stay here beside me. Watch as the storm goes through, and I need you.
'Cause God gave me you for the ups and downs. God gave me you for the days of doubt. For when I think I've lost my way, there are no words here left to say it's true. God gave me you. Gave me you. There's more here than what we're seeing. Divine conspiracy. That you and angel only could somehow fall for me.
You'll always be the scream molder. I'll be the flattered fool, and I need you. For the ups and downs. It's true. Me, you, on my own. Can't do without you. We still together.
Oh no.
God gave me you for the ups and downs. God gave me you for the days of doubt. God gave me for the cause I can't do what I heard is come from the left. Because
Pleasant good night to all our listeners and viewers around the world. This is Gem FM. I'm your host, the Sheriff, yours truly, John Callis. And tonight, I got with me Miss June Doyle. Yes, June Doyle is here with us tonight. And
Pardon.
more than happy to have her with us. Those of you who are viewing us on Facebook and YouTube and listening to us on the World Wide Web, we thank you again. Let me just make sure people can hear me on the outside. Yes. All right. So thank you again, and a pleasant good night and happy Family Day to those of you in Toronto. Even though you're not in Toronto, but you're a Torontonian Canadian living outside of Canada, still celebrating Family Day. Happy Family Day to you. And tonight, my special guest is June Doyle, the real deal. Yes, is the real deal. And I wouldn't have any other way but to have her on this night, a night that was not really a night we were supposed to have the show on. But you know how God works in his own way, and we think we're doing our own thing. God said, no, I want it on that day. So we planned for the 19th, it was a Friday, but it really was a Monday. And it is Monday Family Day. And if you just heard the song that just have been played, God Gave You Me. Well, that have a story behind it. So that will be coming up later on in the show. God gave you me. And probably both husband and wife will tell you what God gave them each other. So June Doyle, good night to you. And welcome
Good night, John.
on radio. How are you? How are you?
I am doing well. I'm doing excellent.
Great. Nice. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Miss June Doyle is the recipient of our Literary Award 2023. And her book has been well read by the persons who nominated her for that award. And we was really delighted to have her flew in from Trinidad and Tobago to be in Toronto with us in December to receive her award. Not only that, she came cheerfully, she came with a smile, she came confident, knowing who she belongs to, and the grace that she had on her, she left it with us. And I would say she certainly left her grace with me with a great impression of who she was and is still. I didn't know who she was until now we become friends. Yes. And yes, and she is a smiling, happy. You know, some people is like a virus. Let's say you pick up the flu, the bug. Yes, and her giving us this joy, that joy never go away from me. So. And I know that a lot of people feel the same way and felt the same way back then and still feeling so today. And when they see you tonight, June, I think that will bring back some really joyous memories of December 2023. So we're happy to have you.
Thank you so much, John. It's been a pleasure just getting to know you. And meeting you in December was just the icing on the cake. You're such a character myself. I really appreciate the dynamics. I appreciate your humbleness. I appreciate who you are and who you bring to the table. It was indeed a very special night. It's a night that will remain in my memories for years and years unending. And I thank God for the opportunity I had to meet you. Thank you so very much for honoring me that night. I tell everybody a Grenadian honoring a Trinidadian, that's like, yay, it feels so good because really and truly, we are all just sojourners. We are all just passing through this earth, right? Yes. And we just happen to be born in a certain country, but we just passing through. I cannot brag and say that I'm going to be here, until eternity and after eternity. We are literally sojourners. And for that, I'm very humble when a Grenadian meet me and we say, yeah, we made it, we hit it off, and we're going to do life together. So Thank you so very much. And again, this is a very special night. Thank you for honoring me again and opening up your gates for me to enter. I'm humbled by your kindness.
Thank you so much, so much, so much. I being flabbergasted is a little word, but it's something that when you meet somebody that everybody talks about, they already set the stage for you and open the door for you to walk in. And I was looking for June Doyle, and because what I heard about you in the nomination that, what you have done and stuff like that. And I remember seeing you on Facebook before, but it disappeared for some reason, some way. And I learned that your Facebook page
got hacked.
there's a lot of hackers out there, and
Yeah.
they do stuff to us too. And we have to go and come again and appreciate what we really had and how vulnerable we are as human beings. We cannot take life too seriously. We must laugh through it, smile through it, and keep on going. Before we go any further, June Doyle. Who is June Doyle?
Oh, well, how can I wrap up 68 plus years in 2 minutes? I just want, yeah, my beginning, I want to start with me, growing up in my home and with my siblings and my mom. I want to pay honor to my mom for the way she raised us single-handedly to love God. We did have a dad at home, but my mom was the spiritual aspect of our lives, and she is the one who molded us and, made us, really get to appreciate God and understand that all things come from God. And
Yes.
I'm eternally grateful for her imparting her godly knowledge onto us. I am who I am today because of my godly mother. And I know that she would have been extremely proud to see her second to last child actually living the life that she would have dreamt for me. And following that, I always wanted to be a missionary. I didn't want to be a doctor or a lawyer. I wanted to be a missionary. Why a missionary at 7 years old? That was a dream that I believe God birthed within me. And I didn't know how it was going to evolve because I am not eating like rats and roaches. I'm not the one to sleep outside with scary stuff happening. And God just customized the way that he would want me to do my missions. And it started at age 65 when I launched my first book. And that created a whole new world for me, where through that and Facebook, I am now the missionary I wanted to be at 7 years old, without leaving my home, without eating scary stuff, and without sleeping outside. So God is a fair God. He knows each one of us, and he knows what we require to do the work or to fulfill our purpose on earth. So I am tremendously blessed to feel as though God has actually customized my life for me, and I'm still fulfilling my purpose. I got married at 18 years, raised my 4 girls, and they're all grown adults now on their own. And now at age 65, when I thought my world was over, when my last child got married and left home, I thought, okay, my world was over. Little did I know that this was now the beginning of who June Doyle really is. So I say over and over, my life has evolved into something that was once only a dream. And I'm eternally grateful to God for allowing it to happen. And that's in a part who June is in a short 2 minutes. And yeah.
So in a nutshell, June
Yes.
Doyle is a family lady, a family-oriented person. Talking about your dream and the mindset you had and the expectation that you had, growing up in your home, what would you say is the single most important thing to you outside of mommy's love and daddy's love? What was the single most important thing to you growing up?
Growing up, I'm from a large family. Actually, there's 11 of us, 10 siblings, and I am number 10. And I find that the way we grew up back in those days was no TV, there was no TV in the home. So we entertained each other. And how did we entertain each other? By singing songs from the hymn books, by reciting poems that we learn, and just the simple things in life created a life that I cherish so much. I just wish my kids and my grandkids were growing up in the world I grew up in, and I am eternally grateful for the experiences I have had in life early in my years, in my youth. And also the fact that my mom took time and raised us at her feet. I can't remember the few times that my mom was not at home. she was always at home. You know, you open the door from school and mommy was there. I remember like entering the house and the first name you call when you enter the house is mommy, you know. And if you don't hear that voice, it's like there's a chill in the atmosphere. And, you know, it's so sad to see how the world has evolved now, where kids go home and there's no mommy there because mommy is working 5, 6 jobs, you know. And but I'm grateful for the life I had. I do not have baggage. I don't have any hidden treasures that anybody is holding for me. And for that, I give my mom, you know, a lot of the honor for the way that she grew us up. And you know, I don't have a history that I have to hide or feel shame about. You know, I am just very grateful for the way that life evolved for me.
Oh, sorry. So somebody said you're not hearing, but I try my phone here to check and see. So I hope that they are hearing. Probably need to turn up the volume. I don't know why, but I'm hearing my monitor. My phone is playing loud and clear. So I hope anybody is not hearing, please check your phone volume or something like that. However, June Doyle, yes, she's here. So the single most important thing. You had a dream to be a missionary. What inspired you to want to be a missionary? What was the single thing that you saw? I said, you know what, I want to be a missionary. What Bible verse? What time at 7 years old?
Yeah,
a missionary.
Yeah, I'm by nature a very empathetic person. I'm very compassionate. I am always praying when I'm driving and I see a woman like she's just hitting the road through mental health issues, and I end up praying for her. That could have been me, but for the grace of God. I'm always seeing the wounded. I'm always seeing the hurting. You know, last night my husband and I went out and I told him I always say hello to custodians. I do not pass anybody straight. I would quicker say hi to a custodian than I would to the king or to the queen. And I really have that kind of compassionate empathy, kind of caring for people. I don't like blood, but I'll do everything else, you know. And it makes me sensitive. I'm not living up in the sky. It makes me really be down to earth and really touch people where they are. Right. And my only prayer was, Lord, make use of me for the future as only you can. You know, I want God to use me the way only He can. I want to be that instrument that could touch people's lives and give them hope. And out of my desire and my passion, created that sort of feeling that I could be a missionary. You know, I could go out and tell people about the love of Jesus. I could bring hope to them. I could bring encouragement to them. There's no situation that is off of Jesus' chart. There's nothing that anybody has gone through. It reminds me of the woman at the well. You know, how many of us as Christians, we would condemn a woman who has 6 husbands because we are righteous. How could you have 6 husbands? God hates you, you know, He doesn't like this. And, you know, we condemn people based on their past. And it is not like Jesus to condemn anybody. As a matter of fact, we remember that story when Jesus just bent his head and started to write in the sand. Yes. And he raised up and he said, "Where are thy accusers?" You know, so Jesus don't want us as Christians, as followers of Christ, to accuse anybody or to make anybody feel that they are passed beyond God's grace. You know, God can recover, He could restore, He could rebuild. There is nobody that has passed God's grace. As long as we are breathing, we are under God's grace and God's mercy. And we turn around and we realize, you know, even in my righteousness, it's like filthy rags before God. You know, drop me on my knees alone in my closet, and I would be weeping as though I went out last night and party whole night. You know, there's such a humility and a sense of awe of God's presence when you are kneeling before Him alone. When you're with people, you say prayers, but when you're alone, you have that kind of, you know, kind of like, God, Thank you. Thank you for what you have done for me. Thank you for what you have done for X, Y, and Z, you know. And if God could use me the way that I want to be used by him, I could say that a life well lived is long enough. You
Right.
know, I tell my kids, Jesus died at 33 years old.
Yeah.
Like, God forbid I pass away tonight. People will say, but she was so young. But
Mm.
I am double Jesus' age when he passed. So there come a time when you just have to know
Right.
that you have lived your life the way God wanted you to live, and it's long enough. So whenever my bell ring, I can say it is well with my soul.
It is well.
That's all that matters to me, you know. And so that's where I feel as though I have that passion to tell people about the love of Jesus. I want to be that missionary, and not missionary like how we knew long time. Missionary today, you know. My Facebook page is flooded with encouragement. It's
Yes.
not it's not that I have time to do it. I make time to do it. It's not that I don't want to sleep 3 o'clock in the morning. I want to sleep, but I have that passion to always encourage somebody, because you never know what somebody may be going through 2 o'clock in the morning. The enemy walks around 2, 3 in the morning, and that's when everybody is emotionally drained, and that's when he's active, you know, and that's why we have to be very careful and be very sensitive to those who can't sleep in the night. And I work on my post because I want to be the lifeline to tell somebody Jesus loves you, and Jesus is listening to you, and he's only a prayer away.
Amen to that. Yes, you know, age, some people say just a number.
Yes.
You said 65, 65, and you realize your dream now. You're not in bad company. I'll tell you that. Kentucky was 65 on a retirement check, and look at what we're eating today. You know,
Yes.
healthy or unhealthy, we eat Kentucky out of a man's dream, who's standing in back of a car. So at age 65, I say, you know, you just begin to leave. You finish the 40-40 plan. For many people, we are in the 40-40 plan, 40 hours a week for 40 years of our lives, and we look back, this I have done, you haven't seen anything much. But when you get out of the 60-40-40 plan and you start working on yourself, working on what you really want to do, the children is gone, and you now saying, this I have to do. You know, like the Apostle Paul says, I have run the race. Yes, I have poured up myself like a drink offering. You know, and I heard Miles Monroe said, the only human beings that are afraid to die are those who have not lived full life yet.
True.
So
but I'm 68 going on 69. 65 was like 4 years ago.
yes. But the incrementation of time have allowed you to be who you are and free to be and to do what you want to do. And you have a partner with you that encourages you, that stand by you, stand with you, you know, give you the space to do the things that you really want to do.
That's right.
I want to go back to the point where you started writing. You become a writer. Your first book. What was the inspiration behind your first book?
I had reached a point in life where I didn't have kids anymore at home. And I remember standing up in my kitchen at home in Toronto, and I told God, I said, God, is this all there is to life? Because my husband is still living his life. He's still working. He's still, you know, involved in what he likes. But what does June have to do again? And I heard God very loud, John. And it's hard for those who don't know how God speaks to believe what I'm saying. But I heard God distinctly tell me, you are going to write. Did I write before? No, I was a mommy. I was a chauffeur. I was June running up and down. I was like, there's bread to pick up, there's groceries. 3 o'clock, we have to run and pick up the kids. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? That was my life. So when I thought my life was over after my last girl left, I said to God, okay, God, what is there for June to do? Because Edison is still living his life. June is just going to go to the mall. No, Jesus, you know? So right away, I heard you are going to write. And that was like the best gift that I was ever given in my life. I write every day because I'm always learning, I'm always listening. Or I take things, everyday things that happen in life and write about it. I could be in the garden wetting my plants, and I could find so much truth just being in the garden. I would see like trees that need to be trimmed, and I look at it and I'm saying that could be somebody's life. If we don't continually trim areas in our life, we could grow up with all sorts of parts of us that out of whack and out of shape, bent over, dried up. So we have to daily prune ourselves, like
Yeah.
how I would prune my plants. So every day I learn something. Every day in life, I can write about things that I experience in the day, and nobody would know because God allowed me to turn my lemons into lemonade in life. So we are not to whine about things that we went through, experiences that we had. We are to make lemonade out of those difficult situations so others can be encouraged.
Yes. And talking about encouragement, the conversation over dinner,
Over dessert.
over dessert, yeah, dessert.
You are a man. You are a man. Let me tell you something. My first book is called Grown Up Conversations,
Conversation.
meaning that we are no longer children. We are no longer whining. We are no longer complaining. Conversations over dessert, John, is where you take your girlfriends out and you discuss things in the book and encourage somebody else. So it's conversations. I love having conversations. I love, interacting with people. And that's why I post on Facebook too. I love when people speak back to me and let me know what they got from what I wrote, and let's, encourage each other.
Right, right. I like that because part of if you read some of the stuff I put up too, it's to encourage people to bring out the greatness in them. I think a lot of people have greatness in them, and the association that they have doesn't allow them to do that. So you can look to something else, somewhere else, to be empowered or to be drawn out from where they are. It's a great start, and what you do is empowering. It brings out the gifting in people. Because sometimes by just saying something, I could do that, yeah. I think she said it right. I think I'll start pick up my pieces and put it together and start doing. If June could do it at 65, 69, I could do it too. I'm not old. I'm young as June. I could go. And I think that's what a lot of people are looking for. They're looking for mentorship. No matter how old they are, they're looking for somebody in their corner. And hence the reason why coaching is important. No matter who you are, you need a coach. You need somebody to tell you, to show you what you cannot see, and so we go about doing things. I say, well, I could see something, but I can't see everything, And every day I speak to people, I've learned something about myself. I learned something today again from you when you was talking pre-show, that, I always open to learning. The world is a classroom to me.
Yeah.
I never stop attending class, So tonight, whilst we hear the people listening to us, and they might say, well, June have done this, you have done that. She wrote these 2 books, and that's it. What is in it for us, the people who are looking at June?
I think that my journey in life is so interesting. If you ask me what my tomorrow is going to look like, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But every day I end the day feeling satisfied that I was better than I was yesterday. In any situation, we learn not to sweat the small stuff. Many of us sweat the small stuff more than we bother about the bigger issues in life. And I feel that we waste so much time just batting at every fly that passes across or throwing a stone at every dog that bark. I feel we waste so much time. We could easily pick up a pen, encourage yourself, encourage somebody else. Use your time more productively, because time is not replaceable. The filter in your kettle can be replaced. The manufacturers do it. We as human beings, there's nothing that we could do that could bring back time or bring back the years or bring back the moments, even if the moments are good, John. Even if the moments are good, we have to move past it.
Yes.
So even though I feel I've done well in bringing 2 books from age 65 to 68, even though I feel as though I've accomplished something, that's not the end. That's old manna. God does not want us to eat yesterday's manna. God doesn't want us to stay stuck in the first book or the second book. God wants to give us something new. So as long as I am breathing, I am hopeful that my tomorrow is going to be better than last year, June, when I promoted my second book. It may not be a third book, but I am evolving. I don't know what God has in plan for me. All I know, I'm being sensitive, I'm being obedient, and I'm walking in his timing, because I realize that our runway is short. We don't have time like we used to have. We are no longer kids. We are adults. We are grown-ups doing life as grown-ups. And the quicker we learn it, is the happier our world will be. You know, getting glued to things that have nothing, no value to it, is a waste of time.
Yes.
It's like going to the dollar store with $1 million and trying to buy 1,000,002 things. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. So our life is worth so much. We should not be satisfied with yesterday's manna. It was good. It tasted good. But there's more tomorrow.
Yes.
Right? So let's move on.
So talking about raising children, you have how many? 2 girls?
No, John. My darling husband is now going to come in and tell you he's the father of 4 daughters. Okay?
Nice. Before he come in, you said,
people are amazed when we tell them that this year we're going to be married 51 years and we got married at 18. But to me, the saddest side of life is that it ends too soon and we take too long to begin. So I am happy that my life got started really early.
Really early.
I am bringing my husband in.
Yes.
I am happy that we got started early, because now at age 68, 69, we are back to being a couple. We are back to being who we were before we got married, and we still have so much to live for. If anybody had told me retirement was so good, I was not going to believe them, you know. So I am so grateful to God that, you know, we started life early. We are still together 51 years this year, John. And we are still healthy. God has been good to us, you know, and I am so good to have a partner for life.
I could tell by the smile on your face and the commendation that you gave at the ceremony, the award ceremony, how much he played, how much his part in your life was so important to you being who you are today. I give lots of credit to him. And tonight, I'm getting to meet Mr. Edison. I know she said don't call him Mr. Edison. Edison. Man, so for instructions.
Too old when it's calling Mr. Edison, like really, John.
that is delayed intelligence, I call that. You know, you forget that. But that's good. Edison, welcome to GMFM Radio and Genesis Magazine.
Yeah, pleasure to be here.
I had the pleasure of meeting your lovely wife who boasts about you. And I mean, a woman boasts about a man, she tells herself that's a virtuous woman. Everybody get to know the husband in the gate because of who she is.
Right.
And that's what a virtuous woman do. She edifies Edison. Yes?
Yes. You're rhyming, John.
He had edified you before I get to meet you. So now I'm excited to meet and to talk to Mr. Edison. Edison?
Yes, no, I'm here. Yeah. It is a pleasure.
I want to make sure I follow my instructions by June Doyle.
Okay.
He's not used to me having him on a show with me. I'm usually with him. So he's kind of like, how does this thing work? You know, I am accustomed being the man and running it. Now I have to be like, you know, so he'll get used to it.
Okay, he'll get used to it. He'll get used to it. Well, tonight in Toronto, and if you was here, we're celebrating Family Day with us. And I know that you still have a taste for Toronto or Canada in you, both of you. How does it feel to be in the space that you know occupy together for 50 plus years?
Well, you know, it feels great. It feels great indeed. I would say that it is an achievement. It is an accomplishment to spend 51 years with someone who you have loved from day one, who you grew to love, who you grew to appreciate, who you grew to support. You know, it goes both ways. And it really feels good. It really feels good. And actually, it gets better as the years go by. You know, the friendship gets deeper, the joy, the laughter, you know, that kind of attraction has not disappeared at all. So I would say that it's indeed a pleasure, and it just gets better and as the years go by.
Great. I want to ask you, Edison, your father, and what is it that you do outside of the home? What's your profession?
Well, I multitask. I am the CEO of a medical hospital, a private hospital in Trinidad, Acropolis Medical Center. I am also a CPA by profession. Also, I'm a musician. So again, I multitask. I do, and you know, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a grandfather. So I do a lot of things. I do a lot of things, and I enjoy them all. And it keeps me, I guess, looking young.
Oh, what the joy of being a father and a husband and everything.
Yes.
You said something that you do everything, and that is really, really wonderful, because I do a lot of different things too. And sometimes people say, well, jack of all trades, master of none. And some people see that as a put down, but never finish reading the complete statement that reads, jack of all trades, master of none, but better than the master of one.
That's
So,
right. That's right.
we're in good company.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So I always ask people to finish the statement. Don't cut it halfway. Read the whole thing, and you get the whole substance of it. So being the husband, being the father, and you know, I'll tell you a little story about myself before I ask you the question I want to ask you. I started dating my late wife in high school, and we were very good friends. And one day, while walking to the park together, I said, just like this, I want you to be my girlfriend. That's it. That was. And she said to me, oh, no. And I'll give you an answer in 2 weeks. 2 weeks came, I didn't get no answer. I went to her and said, what happened to 2 weeks? You know what I mean? I'm waiting. So with you now, and we ended up dating, and we got married, and eventually we had one daughter, Genesis. With you, meeting June Doyle, where did you meet? And what were you thinking when you said a beautiful lady?
Well, you know something.
It
It was Valentine's Day last Wednesday, and we were in the company of our eldest daughter and her husband and another couple. And it so happened that that question came up, and you know, it is a joy even looking back at the time when we first met. We actually met in church. We were 15 years of age, and at the very first time we met, there was an attraction. There was an attraction, and we just grew to you know, we spoke to each other. And from then we became very good friends. We became very good friends. And as soon as we left school, we decided, listen, you know, there's no need to look any further. We know who we are. We know what we want. We know who we want to share our life with. And we got married at 18 years. And again, that's 51 years ago. And we have no regrets doing what we did, living the life that we did, and the support that we have provided to each other has really, you know, helped us to grow and help us to become who we are today.
You know, when we hear stories like that, sometimes people say love at first sight, or, you know, how do you do it for 51 years? What would you say? And anyone of you can answer that, but I would probably have 2 different answers for that, from the male perspective and from the female perspective. What would you say was the greatest or strongest desires for getting married?
I would say friendship. Well, what kept us together actually.
Mm.
Again, first of all, is by the grace of God, and secondly, really is the friendship and the maturity that we have, and we have always had this friendship up to today. We would talk, we would laugh a lot. Having a conversation is not a difficult thing to have. Calling each other on the phone, and just ending up with "I love you" is not a difficult thing to do. So really, a marriage is work, and you have, like anything else, okay, anything that is dear to you, you have to work towards it. You have to work to keep it. You have to work to sustain it. You have to work to get it better. All right. We do that with our cars. We do that with our homes. We do that with our finances. And, and actually, marriage is no different. So we understand the need to do things to maintain the marriage, to sustain the marriage, and to keep the sparks going. We go on vacations every year, try to spend a lot of time with each other, helping each other, supporting each other. In our first years, June provided the necessary support from a perspective of seeing about the kids and so on, and now it's her turn in life to shine. So
Right.
So the tables have now turned, and I'm here supporting her. I think I'm her biggest fan. I'm her ardent supporter, and that's the kind of tag team that we have
Right.
played down through the years.
Yes. And June, raising children, and I was asking that earlier when we said, ask Edison. So Edison,
Yeah.
raising children, what was it like in the first year, like changing diapers, having them to sleep, not crying too much? How was your role in raising those children?
Well, I did most of the work with the children when they were smaller. I'm just kidding. June did.
Like really, John? Like really, John?
Again, our life was a little different. When we were younger, probably in our first 10 years or 15 years, I really worked hard. I studied a lot. So June really was the caregiver, and she has done a phenomenal job, which I'm eternally grateful. But still, we always had our times together. Every week we would have testimonies together. Every week, every year we would do something together. But primarily in the first go around, June was the primary caregiver. Sometimes she called me the financial controller in the family. But I always made sure that I gave the kids the love and the care and the attention they need. As a matter of fact, I was on another show recently, and someone asked about parenting. So I asked all of the kids to, write to me, telling me something that they remember, what their recollection was growing up. And in every case, it was how much time I spent with them just doing things. One of them was, she remembered when I used to take her to when I had to fix the car, well, not fix the car, but, work on the car every Saturday. I would take her to the mechanic shop. Another one would remember when I would be driving her every Sunday to go down to university. Another one, when I used to come home from work, I would take her bike riding and so on. And so really, what is etched in their minds really is the time that I spent with them and just giving them that time. But June was the one who would be the primary caregiver. But I was their friend, and I have always been their friend from day one. And we are still all of them, we are still very close from a friendship perspective.
Right. So June, being the mother, the caregiver for those lovely children, is there a time when you have come to hear today that the so-called modern women don't care too much about having children? They're more prone to having a career. What message would you give to young people today, the young ladies who put off having children and having a career? what sort of advice would you give to?
Raising children is really a big task. It's not easy. It's a very selfless job where you are no longer in the picture. You're always rescuing the children. You're always providing. When everybody is in bed, your mind is still going because tomorrow is another day. There's lunch to pack. There's things to be done. Make sure the homework is done. So you'll find that being a mother, you must first be ready to be selfless. You are not the priority when you are a mother. Bad time usually happens in the night when everybody is in bed. You might now be trying to reheat your lunch, that you didn't have during the day. So motherhood is not for everybody. Motherhood is for those who are ready to say, I am ready to invest in someone's life. I look at people investing in pets and I am like so heartbroken because I'm like, you are spending thousands of dollars to invest in a pet that will only live to a certain amount of years, maybe 7 human years or maybe 10 human years, whereas you could have invested in a child and let that child be the one that you could pass on your legacy to, and it's all about human interaction. Sometimes we want to do things for ourselves and we don't realize that we could have had the opportunity to pass that legacy on to a human being. And in my role, I have something that I wrote down here. We are creating a legacy of longevity in marriage for our children and their children. So the experiences that Edison and I have gone through in our marriage, our children should be doing a lot better than we did when we had those same experiences.
Right.
So again, it's no longer him and I now, it's our children seeing the examples in us and wanting to grow and to become better than we are or we were. So motherhood is ready for somebody. It's for people who are saying, you know what? It's no longer about me. It's about investing in a soul, investing in a human being, right? We hug our pets. We kiss them on their lips. We let them jump on our bed, as dirty as they are. And when it comes to our children, it's like, no, the bed is too clean. You can't jump on the bed. I can't kiss you. Your boo-boo is too dirty, So it's time for us to learn to be selfless as women and invest in our children.
Children, they say that's the greatest asset in a relationship. The purpose of marriage is to recreate, right? A lot of times we hear people saying, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for that. And you, Edison, busy doing what you do, and June is taking care of the children and stuff like that. And I know you mentioned about spending time together. How do you balance your work life, June parenting life with the children, and the children themselves have activities growing up between when 14, 15 years old, and both of you have to balance your act? How was that working out for you guys? What made it easier? What was the deciding factor, the catalyst that held all of this together?
Well, something, it is something that you have to be deliberate at. You have to ensure that your schedule involves and incorporates everyone around you. Otherwise, it will be a self-centered or selfish type of activity. So like, take, for instance, and it continues up to today. This week is a very hectic week for me, but last night we said, listen, although I was supposed to make a run to the airport to pick up some folks coming in from the US, last night we decided we're going to a comedy show. So we did that between 4 and 8, and I was supposed to be heading up to the airport at 9. So that similar type of activity took place when we were younger. In that we said, listen, we have to spend time with the kids, regardless of how busy I am, regardless of how busy June is. And we would ensure that on a weekly basis, there are certain activities. On a monthly basis, there are certain activities. During the summer, there would be certain activities, and we cherish those activities because we wanted the kids and the grandkids, even when the grandkids would come, every year we would probably hit a Disney and make sure and give them memories. So when they become parents now, this is what they will follow. When their children become parents, this is what they will follow. So really, parenting, it is a deliberate set of a mindset that you have to say, listen, spending time together is really an investment in the future. And listen, time flies. I can literally still remember the first time June and myself met. And it seems like it was yesterday, and it's more than 50, it's about 55 years ago, right? So yeah, you have to be deliberate in whatever you set out to do, and provide that level of example, in every area, in your Christian area, in education, in career, and so on, so that your kids and your grandkids will follow you, and hopefully they will be even better. As June said, they will come out even better than you are, because that's what you want to happen as you live on.
And John, to support what Edison just said, as adults, as parents, as a couple, we picked the grapes we wanted to eat so that our children's teeth will not edge.
Right.
We didn't live the life saying, husband and wife, parents, grandparents. Our life was evolving around everything and every part, every chapter in our life. And we deliberately picked the grapes we wanted to eat. So make sure that our children and our grandchildren's teeth will not be edged by the fruits that we eat. So this is why parenting is such a selfless job, because you have to be able to choose what you want to invest in, because it's not about you, it's about your children and your children's children. It goes on to the 10th generation. So everything we do, it reflects on our children. So even in our senior years, we still have to make wise choices, even though our children are not around us, even though our grandchildren are not seeing us. We are still responsible for the choices we make, because it will eventually have a ripple effect upon the rest of the family. And when we move on, we must not leave our children with the baggage that we picked up during our life here on earth.
Good. I love that. And with all of that, there's one thing that comes to mind, is that if you reject knowledge, it not only affects you, but it affects about 3 generations deep. Yes? So if you acquire, and you like I say, you pick the right grapes, so the teeth would not be edged. It's a great analogy to have the mindset of to develop and to raise a family together. But having said all that, we hear today that a lot of women saying, I'm not going to be submissive to no man. And the Bible asks that woman to be submissive unto her own husband. Could you tell us, from your own words, what it is for you to be submissive to your husband?
Submission is not something you force. Submission is something that you earn. So if Edison don't respect me as a human being, it will be difficult and challenging to submit to his demanding ways, his everything, that his demeanor, everything. But if he loves me enough and treats me with courtesy and respect, submission becomes very easy. Very, very easy. It's a no-brainer, because the love and the respect is mutual. But if all that you are demanding from me is to make sure I honor you and respect you and call you king and treat you nicely, that's going to be a task. But once the love is mutual and the respect is mutual, the giving is not a problem.
Great.
I have never had a problem. I don't even know if submitting is the right word, in agreeing with whatever he decides to do. We come in agreement, and the agreement was not hard, because the love and respect there continues 24 hours, 7 days a week, not only when you want to go to bed with your wife or you want her to do something nice for you. The respect is mutual 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Right.
It makes life easier and the atmosphere in the home changes.
You're right. Edison, I want to ask you this because your wife was nominated for an award in Toronto, and you was not coming. You decided to say, you know what, I'm going to buy this wife a ticket to go get her award. How was your feeling? What was your feeling behind all of this? Knowing that my wife, she have worked so hard, she have now gotten recognition in Canada by Gem FM Radio. Who is this Gem FM Radio? What was your first thought on all of this before you allow your wife to leave to go to this thing?
Well, I felt, again, I was very proud of her. Well, what I did first was to do some due diligence on who is this Gem FM Radio. I liaised with some friend of yours, Dr. Pierre, and and so on. And him and I, well, we are work associates actually. And your credibility was really remarkable. And again, I just, as a matter of fact, within probably 24 hours, when she told me about the award, she already had the ticket in hand. Okay, because I was again, we never had the issue of competition among ourselves. We always complemented each other rather than competed with each other. So I see it now, especially for June, because she worked hard. She was primarily, as I said, in the early years, a caregiver. So now she has her books. Now she has so many followers on social media and so on. Here am I. All I can do is to support her. All I can do is to, take the back seat and sort of say, you go, girl. I'm your biggest cheerleader. So yeah, I was and still am. I was very proud of Sarah couldn't make it, I think, because I had some meetings that same weekend, or some musical functions to participate in. But I did feel very proud of her, and I still feel very proud of her as she continues to speak at these engagements and to have these sessions. And that's what we should do. We should complement each other. There's no competition, or should be no competition amongst husband and wife, or wife and husband, regardless of what stage in life you are, regardless of how you are. And as June said, once you have that level of togetherness, we are in this thing together, the love and the camaraderie really works well.
Right, nice. I know you mentioned about the music. How influential and who influenced you in your early years to get involved in music, and how do you now, as a father, musician, you said, balancing work with music? Because a lot of people say, well, I work, I got this, but as music is something a sideline. My daughter is also a musician. She played 12 instruments. She won the Ontario Mirror Award twice back to back, and the adjudicators of music in Ontario for 2020 for song composition and song design and stuff like that. I get to know more about music now in old age than I ever knew about music, and all the intricacies of music. For you, how do you balance your music life with your home life and your work life?
Well, something. Well, first of all, from a DNA perspective, my mother, she was a church organist. Okay. So I guess from a DNA perspective, I got that, and I loved music from small. I remember in primary school or elementary school with a xylophone, we will have a xylophone band. Then when I went to high school, that's a long story, but when I went to high school, the high school that I went to initially wasn't too much academic. So I decided, listen, I want to be a musician. So I played probably music for 3-4 hours a day at high school. And then I learned to play all of the brass instruments. And of course, my first instrument was a piano. And I literally traveled the world, playing music when I studied in England. I played music to augment and supplement my income there. And have always led choirs and arranged for orchestras. So some people call my trumpet my second wife. because they know I always travel with my trumpet. Say, did you bring your second wife? Yeah, music to me is therapy.
Right.
As I say, I work hard, and outside of the time that I spend with June, sometimes I'll just half an hour, 45 minutes, just either go on the piano or probably go on the trumpet and just amuse myself. And the engagements that I have, I just cherish them. I love music. I love music. It takes away the stress, and it provides therapy to the busy day that you would have.
Now, June, come back to you. Edison plays music in a home, and so how comforting is that for you, hearing the melodies of?
She told me I make too much noise.
I told you to make too much noise. No. I think I've passed the stage of being amused or entertained by his music. We do different things for a form of relaxation. I love to write. So I get lost in my writing. He get lost in his music. And when everything is finished, we take the lights off and we go into bed, So that's how we live our life. It's not very structured like you think it should be, or very scheduled. He is happy in who he is. And, we have always had a music room in all our homes. So he just settles in and he plays his music, and I just go on with my writing and live happily ever after.
Oh, wow. There's a study out there that I often read, and it gets even more interesting every time I go and look up this study on marriage. It is said that marriage lasts 5 years, the average marriage lasts 5 years. 50% of all marriage end in 5 years for 3 reasons: sex, money, and communication. Now, you've been married for 51 years, 50 years. How did you do that? Because there must have been some financial challenge sometimes. There must be some communication that need to be dealt with. There is probably time, people can schedule time for sex and stuff like that, a lot of different things. The study shows that this is 3 reasons. What would you say to people who want a long-lasting marriage to not allow those 3 statistics to be mentioned among their marriage?
I think marriage is like having intersections in the road. When you reach an intersection, you have to decide there and then if you're going right or if you're going left, because you can't go straight. All right. And at that point, maturity steps in, and you act as adults and not like kids in a candy store, right? So once you become mature, marriage is ready for mature people only. If you're immature, you shouldn't get married, right? Marriage.
You gotta say it one more time for the people who didn't hear the first time.
Marriage is ready for mature people, mature enough to know, okay, we're at an intersection, and we look right, we look left, and we say, okay, we're going left today, right? And that's how we do it. They say that you understand life better when you look backwards at it. So where we are now at 51 Junction, we look back and we say, okay, 25, we fussed about that, but I was really stupid, and you look back and you say at 5 years, like, really, what were we thinking? So unless you are ahead, then you could appreciate what happened behind to see where you are today, right? So you can't stop at chapter 1 and expect to understand everything that chapter 1 had. Keep going. The further you go, the better the chance and the view is when you look back.
I would add an additional perspective to that, with respect to hope. And you don't focus with only what's happening today. Even in those 3 areas. I remember when we lived in England, when I did most of my studies, I was already married. And when we lived in England, it was really financially challenging. I would make groceries literally every day, because I didn't have the money to make groceries for a week. So every day coming home after I would study and work in the library, you get £2. I would go and buy, probably, a bread, and, 3 or 4 pieces of chicken, as the case may be. So it was financially draining, but you would always tell yourself it would not always be like this, right? And you know where you are now is not where you intend to be, and you're working for you not to be in that situation in 5 years' time. Just recently, we were talking to someone who was talking about hope also, and we lived about 2 train stops away from the airport in England. I can't remember the name of the airport now. I was going to say Pearson, but it's not Pearson. Heathrow Airport. And what we will do on a Sunday. On a Sunday evening, we would just go to the airport just to see in those days were BWI as opposed to Caribbean Airlines. We would just go to look at the plane, that BWI plane coming in and taking off, because we're telling ourselves, listen, you know something? We are just here but for a time. We're going back home one day, and life will be better. So once you live with hope, the experiences that you have today, they become minuscule, all right? And also once you trust in God also, the problems that you have there would become minuscule to the hope that you have in the future. So you always look to the future for what you expect, and that will take your mind off the challenges and the issues. So even these days, when we have challenges or crises on the job, my favorite line is, it's all in a day's work.
Right.
You don't,
all in a day's work.
All in a day's work. It's all in a day's work.
Always.
Yeah. So really, it's how you look at things. And there's another saying that that it's 10% is the event and 90% is how you react to it. So so we always try to react to whatever challenges there may be in a positive manner.
And there's also this one thing I always say to people: never let your eyesight overshadow your mind sight. A lot of times we look at our present situation and see the worst of what it is, right?
Right.
And then we try to make decisions based on what we see now. But what is it your mind is telling you? What are the pictures that's in your mind for the future? And sometimes we get lost in translation, not figuring out, well, the future will be brighter than the present situation that we're in.
Correct.
Going through that right now, you can make mention about the financial situation. And you could have said, you know what? I can't do this. Instead, you say, what? I could do this instead. And that would be better than not doing the other thing. So June, in that case.
In closing.
when Edison come home, I bring the bird and I say, there's not enough money. And there's some people say, I can't do it, a man, I can't do this. And that will bring me to the point of the movie, The Pursuit of Happiness, where one person see the future and the next person not seeing the future, seeing it now. And to me, based on what I'm hearing from both of you was looking at the future together, not the present situation. Would I be correct to say that was the situation with both of you?
Yeah, life is full of stages. And where we were in 1983, we are not there in 2023 or 2024, right? So don't mark your life based on somebody else's life. So somebody will see us in year 2024, but didn't know there was a 1983 when we lived in England, right? They wouldn't know there was a 1990 when we had to pick the kids up and migrate to Toronto to give our first girl a chance to enter into make a choice in universities. So you don't step into somebody's life and say, why can't you be like Edison and June? Edison and June had a 1973, we had a 1983, we had a 1991, we had a 2014, and now we have 2024. So you cannot mark your marriage, your relationship based on someone else's view or what they look like now. We have gone through the tracks and we have our records to show that we came out. So be encouraged. Your present situation is not your final destination. You're traveling. It's a journey.
So the success mindset is to understand that do not allow your present state to dictate your future expectation.
Correct. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
No.
The young people have a story these days. I mean, have a saying that goes, you only see the glory, but you really don't know the story.
Yeah. True,
Right.
it's true.
So you see, people look at you and sometimes they see the glory, but they do not know the story. But once you go through that grill and that grind, as it were, the glory, the success is sweeter the more challenges you had. All right. And the more challenges you pass through. So in life in general, that's what we have to go by.
Right. Okay, June, and just before we close, I want to have you tell folks where they can get your books to buy and a little bit about the both books, just in closing, so folks will get an understanding of your writing those books and what you hope to happen. And probably you could share the story of the brother who you said read your book and then he passed away sometime after.
Yes. Yeah, you can get my books, Grown Up Conversations and Conversations Over Dessert, on Amazon.com, Barnes and Nobles, and anywhere books are sold in North America. You can get my books locally in Trinidad from Maranatha bookstores or personally from me. The books locally in Trinidad is $125. The books on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles, you go on the link and you purchase the books. Finally, in closing, John has asked me to share a story. My husband and I had a friend growing up in our youthful days. And while we were in Dubai celebrating our 50th wedding anniversary, he got a WhatsApp from the friend saying that he went to the bookstore in Trinidad and picked up 2 of my books. And he was living with a lot of regrets as he was reading my book. Regrets on his marriage, regrets on what type of father he was. He had a lot of time to rethink and to go over and ask for forgiveness and to get his life back together. And in less than 3 weeks, he passed away. And I just want to thank God for the opportunity that he had to read the books and to have that time with God, dealing with his past and dealing with his ex-wife and dealing with his children, trying to get his life together through one of my books. So yes, I thank God for the books. The books are not the books you read from cover to cover. The books are everyday readings. You open the book on any page and you read that page. It's daily motivationals. I don't like when people tell me that they sit and they read it cover to cover. You cannot keep everything in. It's like your strainer is full and you keep pouring more water in it. 1 a day chapter is good enough. Open on any page and read. Send me a message on Facebook and let me know how you are impressed with the book. Or if you're not, please connect with me on Facebook at DREAL June Facebook, and on Instagram is June Doyle 2023, I believe. I got hacked in both accounts. I know, I got hacked in both accounts, so I have no accounts, but definitely hook up with me on Facebook. It'll be great. Every day I write motivational stuff, and you will continue to be blessed. Together, we will do life with God. Thank you, John, for having us. It was great. Another time spending with you. Thanks for having Edison. It's Family Day in Canada. Happy Family Day to all our loved ones, and hope you all had enough time and fun together.
Amen. Thank you. Edison, in closing, I know there are a lot of men out there watching and say, this guy, he got a beautiful wife and she's praised him so much and, he got been through so much. There's men who probably wondering, would I find a wife like yours? Will I find a wife that will be working together with me, a wife that will be able to accommodate me and allow me to further my studies and to do stuff while she help raise the children? What would you say to those men out there tonight in closing?
Well, what can I say? Well, I don't think you would find a wife initially with all of the traits that June currently has. I think what it is that you have to work together with your companion to bring the best out in each other. So therefore, you don't wait by the sideline to say, I'm looking for this, that, and the other in a wife. You have to say, what could I do in order to bring out the best in my wife? So a lot has to do with how you are as a man in order to bring out the best in the woman, rather than, as I said, to wait on the sideline to say, okay, let me see what she will do. Let me see how she is, and that sort of thing. So really, it's a two-party effort in order to bring out the best in each other. And once you give it your best shot, and with the help of God, I'm sure it could work out. No competition, helping each other to earn the respect of each other, supporting each other, being the best friend. In closing, one thing we never had a best friend. June never had a best friend outside of myself. I never had a best friend outside of June. We were always each other's best friend. Sometimes folks say, listen, let me call a best friend. We never had in life, we never had that in all 55 years. So really, as long as you find the best friend in your spouse, that really goes a long way in bringing out the best in each other.
I'm loving this. The best friend is the person that you. No, it's
Treat
true.
her like
Right?
treat her like a queen, and you will have a queen.
All right.
Treat him like a king, and you will have a king.
I approve this message. My name is John Kellis, Gem FM Genesis Magazine, and I approve this message. It's really good. I love it. So I want to thank both of you again for giving up your valuable time to be here with me on Gem FM Radio. And I hope that the friends listening and those not your friend will become your friend because of this night. And I hope that more people will get to know who June is and who Mr. Edison is, and they can become not best friends, but good friends. Yes?
Right. Exactly.
She's royal.
She's royal. She's royal. Yes, and so that brings me to the end of this session. Again, to our friends and listeners, you can also help us to bring more people in to the studios by keeping this radio station on the air. So you can go to our website at www.gemfm.ca and make a donation of any kind, any amount, whenever you want. So again, this is Gem FM. I'm your host, the Sheriff, yours truly, John Kelly. It has been a plum pleasing pleasure, as well as a privilege to have both of you here with me tonight. I wouldn't have it no other way on a Monday night. Family.
Blessings, John.
All right,
Thank
pleasure.
you so much.
Take care. All the best. Okay, bye-bye now.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
All right. Folks, it has been a pleasure. Good night. And time is now 26 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock. And we had a very interesting conversation over dessert right here on Gem FM. So to those of you listening, if you still want to, check us out, don't be afraid. www.gemfm.ca. Go visit us anytime. Listen to us anytime. 24 hours of radio programming. And we're more than happy to have you. If you have a story to tell that will influence a generation, you have a book, you have something that you're doing in the community, we want to hear from you. We want the world to know you. The works, getting the world to know you. All right? So again, thank you so much, very kindly, for being here with us. Have a blessed night, everybody. Happy Family Day.
I come in because human island, number one city on the island. Five-star flavor. Please contact us at 347-697-4020.
Join us on 101.3 and 106.3 Vibes FM and on all social media platforms every Sunday at 7 p.m. for 1 hour of exciting information, providing valuable legal information to the public. Join us on Legalize, a legal education program hosted by Joseph Ewart Lane, the holder of 3 law degrees, including 2 Masters of Law degrees and the legal education certificate from Hugh Wooding Law School. Legalize will open your eyes to the rights and duties, do's and don'ts, and some of the intricacies of law as Lane engages attorneys from Grenada and across the Caribbean to discuss and drill down on current legal issues, including cases decided by the court. Come, join the vibes. Legalize 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. this and every Sunday. Don't miss it.
There's a calm surrender to the rush of day when the heat of a rolling wave can be turned away.
An enchanted moment, and it sees me through. It's enough for this for you just to be with you.
Can you feel the love tonight? It is where we are. It's enough for this wild-eyed wanderer that we've got this far. And can you feel the love tonight? It's late to it. It's enough to make kings and vagabonds believe everything.
Time for everyone, if they only learn the twisting kaleidoscope, move the soul and soul.
There's a rhyme and reason to the wild outdoors. When the heart and a star-crossed Voyager beat in time with yours.
It is what it's now. For this what you're for.
It's in it's enough to make kings and vagabonds believe that.
Well, that is, yes, that is where I officially get the check to the rail and get out of here. Time is now 25 minutes to the hour of 11 o'clock. So again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy the show. Bring somebody else next week, Friday night. We'll be back here with another guest. All right. So God bless you and make you a blessing. This Friday coming. You're another guest Friday coming. So be prepared to be thrilled, to be entertained, and to be educated. Where we say education is liberation. Gem FM Media. Love you, know. One love, one heart, one destiny. Stay tuned. www.gemfm.ca. One word. gemfm.ca. Don't separate the F and the M. Keep them together. gemfm.ca. www.gemfm.ca. Don't forget. 24 hours of radio. Blessings, everybody.
Saturday, March 2, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. The place to be is 1099 Kingston Road, Pickering, Unit 243. Come and join the fundraising rally for the Feed the People program, Trinidad and Tobago 2024. Come and display your talents as we raise some funds for our second annual Trinidad mission trip. Come and join Stepping Up in Christ, New Commandment Church of God, Sister Connection, New Life Worship Center, Gem FM, and the Hebrew Church of God in a rally to remember. Donations can be made via e-transfer to steppingupandoutchrist@gmail.com. That's Saturday, March 2, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. at 1099 Kingston Road, Pickering, Unit 243. Don't forget to bring